Hello, my name is David Busaith. I'm 23 years old. I'm currently a student at Brigham Young University. I'm from Salt Lake City. I am really interested in music and geography, which is what I'm studying, the best subject. And I love the outdoors. I love learning about history, and I love playing Jeopardy! Best TV show ever. Alex Trebek is a treasure. I deal with chronic depression and anxiety, and I have for 5.5 years now. Hopefully, I don't ramble too much. I'm not super used to being this public and talking about things. I guess the realization came about halfway through my senior year of high school. That was when like really acute symptoms started to develop. There was a lot going on, and a lot of it came out just with the normal stress of graduating and what am I going to do with my life and all those kinds of expectations and fears and worries. I didn't really recognize it for what it was at the time because I was like, how could that happen to me? That doesn't happen to me, right? But it got worse and worse. This was obviously the depression talking, but it was me telling myself that it's just me being weak or me not being good enough, I guess is a better way to put it. It ended up peaking my freshman year of college, and that was really the lowest I've ever been. I had no motivation, no energy, was failing my classes, and I had plans to take my own life. I never ended up attempting, thankfully. It was real and it was scary, and I didn't know what to do about it until I had some good friends who recognized it and recommended that I seek help. I credit them for me still being here, honestly, because I lost a lot of the friends I did have, or at least they weren't really around anymore. But there are a few people who were there and who knew what I was dealing with, took the time to know, and supported me. And it was the spring of 2016 when I was officially diagnosed. I went to the counseling and psychological services on campus at BYU, and that was where I received kind of a preliminary diagnosis. And then once I finished the school year, I went to LDS Family Services and got the same essential diagnosis there of chronic depression and anxiety. I've done a lot of counseling, tried different medications. Um, the counseling was helpful when it was focused on really like deconstructing uh, toxic and negative thought processes and really helping myself learn how to, well, help myself. And medication has been kind of hit and miss for me. I didn't have any like significant like breakthroughs because of medication. The real thing that's really helped me is time. I think that's common, either you build up a tolerance to the negative emotions or you just learn how to deal with things better. Obviously it hasn't been like a steady uphill. I've had lots of dips. I served an LDS church mission and took a few significant dips there, enough to the point where I, decided that I needed to leave a few months before I was originally planning on leaving. But it was the right choice, and I guess that's something that's also helped me as far as like treatment. I don't know if you call it treatment per se, but just prioritizing better in my own life and being okay with not being okay all the time and letting that, sit all right with me on the inside. I have a really hard time making friends uh, and feeling like I belong places. My initial reaction, like when meeting anybody, is that they can tell that there's something wrong with me and they know it and they want nothing to do with me. And so I end up excluding myself, and I feel like I'm kind of like stuck in a cage of, right? Like people are presented with this depression and anxiety, like that's what they see first, but they don't actually see me. And it's like I'm on the inside like screaming like, no, that's not me. Like I wanna connect and I wanna be close to people. It's difficult because I can't really blame anyone else for it, right? But can I and so it's really easy for me to blame myself for things, but that doesn't help me. Another thing that's been significant for me is high school when this all started happening, I really lost uh, all interest in my hobbies and the things that made me me. And that included the exercise and the sports and the fitness. And so I gained a lot of weight really quickly. And, just because of the depressive thoughts, I have a lot of struggles with my body image. Tell myself I'm ugly and I'm fat and no one wants me and all these things. And as a society, we don't talk about these things to young men. Like I've seen all kinds of resources for young women about like body image and everyone's beautiful. We don't address it with young men, and so I've kind of taken a brunt of that. I feel like it's hard to speak up about it because it's not a normal thing that we talk about. Katie actually asked me to also mention specifically how anxiety affects me when it comes to dating. And in just thinking about it, like obviously we all have anxiety around dating, like that's normal. But I guess it just kind of turns all that normal stuff up to 11. It's very difficult to meet people and put myself out there because of like the anxiety is telling me like they don't want to know you. Like it's not like we're starting on equal ground. It's like I'm always starting down here, in my mind. Like I'm starting down here and trying to reach up to their level. It tells me that I have nothing to offer and that like they'd be better off with somebody else, right? These feelings are familiar to everyone, but maybe not how consistent they are or how intense they are or how much they really affect you on an emotional, mental, and physical level. What have I gained? First and foremost is empathy. I feel like I've gained a lot in that department. I spent a lot of time, especially when I was at my lowest, thinking about, I felt like I was exhibiting signs that no one noticed, right? And then so when I see those signs in other people, I can recognize them. I've had some good friends thank me for times where, you know, I was able to reach out to them because of what I've experienced. When I see other people experiencing the same thing, I recognize it, and that has been an asset. For me, what's least effective is when people approach me with through the frame of trying to fix me. People who want to help, and in their minds, helping is you know removing the problem, fixing it, right? Finding a solution. I've spent the last 6 years searching for solutions, right? And if there was one there, like just a fix, right? I feel like I would know what it is. It feels a little belittling, maybe. Like, you think I haven't thought about this a thousand, 100,000 times of like, how can I fix this? What does help, just listening, uh, and trying to understand, letting my feelings be valid, even though they might be completely irrational, even though I may know it and whoever is trying to help me may know it, um, I still feel that way, right? So just letting me feel things and talk through them, just helping me not feel alone. People who've been able to do that have been a massive influence for good in my life. Understanding that there's things you don't understand about it, if you haven't been there, is helpful because it helps you approach it from a different frame of mind, right? You may know somebody who deals with depression or anxiety, but I don't think any two people experience those things the same way. All kinds of factors plug into this, and you can't treat any two people the same way just because they deal with the same thing. I wish people recognized the signs and knew that it wasn't necessarily like that person was cold or rude or didn't want to be involved, but that they felt like they couldn't be because they were so trapped in their own this mental prison that keeps them apart. No one really takes the time to look past that exterior, that looks, honestly, admittedly, looks really cold and unfriendly. They're mistaking that when it's really just like someone who's scared and someone who's afraid to be vulnerable, I guess. How has COVID-19 affected my mental health? It made things really hard. I felt like I had been making some progress, and then I was all of a sudden basically alone in my apartment 24/7, stuck with my own thoughts, and that was terrible. And I know I'm not the only one. Just being able to go to class and see other people, like even if they're not like my best friends, like just talking to people, has a significant impact on me. There's a lot of people like me who have dealt with this for years, and we've gotten very good at not letting other people see that we deal with this when we don't want them to. But just because of that, that doesn't mean that we don't. Just because someone looks like they have things together doesn't mean that they do. They might not just want you to see that. So I think just if there are people in your life who are susceptible to these things or who struggle, reach out, be annoying, let them know that you care. That's what's been most meaningful and helpful to me recently is a few close people who have gone out of their way to tell me that they value my friendship and that they value me as an individual and honestly, like when I'm at my lowest, like just those simple words, just knowing that from another person, it changes things. It changes my perspective, and it helps me to look outside of myself and the struggles that I have, and try to be that way for other people, right? To let them know that I'm there for them as well. And that's how we heal people, like we heal each other by connecting and just loving.